For a brief moment, Latin America looked like it was on the same path as Europe. Factories were built. Railways expanded. Cities grew. By the early 20th century, countries like Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico were industrializing faster than many parts of the world. And then something happened. Industrial growth slowed. Productivity stalled. And the gap with advanced economies never closed. So the question is not why Latin America failed to industrialize. The real question is why industrialization began and then stopped transforming society. To understand that, we need to look at how Latin America industrialized in the first place. At first, Latin America did not industrialize because of factories. It industrialized because of exports. For most of the 19th century, Latin America was deeply integrated into the global economy. But it played a specific role. It exported commodities: beef, sugar, coffee, copper, silver. This export boom created wealth. It built cities. It financed railways and ports. And in some countries, it created early industrial capacity. Argentina built meatpacking plants. Brazil developed textile mills. Mexico assembled basic manufacturing. On the surface, this looked like the beginning of a familiar story. But the foundation was different. In Europe, industrialization was driven by internal markets. Factories grew because people bought what they produced. Rising wages fed demand. Demand fed scale. In Latin America, industrialization was tied outward. Factories depended on export revenues. Growth depended on global prices. And capital flowed toward what earned foreign currency fastest. This created an early imbalance. Industry existed, but it was never the core of the system. That brings us to land and inequality. From the beginning, Latin American economies were highly unequal. Land ownership was concentrated, political power followed. Large estates dominated agriculture. A small elite controlled capital. Most of the population remained poor. This mattered more than ideology. Because industrialization requires mass demand. Factories grow when millions of people can afford what they make. But when income is concentrated, markets stay small. Latin America had industry, but not enough consumers to sustain it. Growth remained shallow. Then came the shock that changed everything. The Great Depression. Global trade collapsed. Export prices fell. Foreign currency disappeared. For Latin America, this was a crisis. But it was also an opportunity. With imports suddenly expensive or unavailable, local production stepped in. Governments protected domestic industry. Tariffs rose. State-owned firms expanded. This period became known as import substitution industrialization. For a while it worked. Factories multiplied, employment rose. Industrial output surged. Latin America did not just industrialize. It industrialized rapidly. But this kind of industrialization had limits. Because it was built behind walls, protected markets reduced competition. Firms sold locally, not globally. Efficiency mattered less than access. Industries grew inward, but they did not scale outward. Technology lagged, productivity stagnated. Exports remained concentrated in commodities. Industrialization expanded, but it did not deepen. Over time, a structural trap emerged. To grow further, industry needed larger markets. To compete globally, it needed productivity. But productivity required investment, skills, and pressure. And pressure was missing. Protected firms survived without improving. Elites resisted reforms that threatened their position. Inequality persisted. Industrialization became stable, but stagnant. Then came the global shift. By the late 20th century, the world economy changed. Trade liberalized. Capital moved faster. Manufacturing reorganized globally. Countries that succeeded industrially plugged into global supply chains. East Asia did this aggressively. Export discipline forced efficiency. Competition drove learning. Latin America entered this world differently. Its industries were not prepared. Protection was lifted suddenly. Many firms collapsed. Industrial capacity shrank. This was not deindustrialization because of failure. It was deindustrialization because the system had never fully matured. There is another factor that shaped this outcome: the state. In Europe and East Asia, states played an active role in coordinating industrial growth. They disciplined firms. They rewarded exporters. They withdrew support when performance lagged. In Latin America, states often protected industry without enforcing performance. Support became permanent. Incentives weakened. Political bargains replaced economic pressure. Industrial policy existed, but it lacked teeth. Over time, Latin America settled into a middle-income equilibrium. Too industrialized to rely only on agriculture. Not productive enough to compete with advanced economies. Wages rose faster than productivity. Informality expanded. Growth slowed. This was not stagnation by accident. It was the result of early success without deep transformation. So when people ask why Latin America stalled, they often point to a single cause. Colonialism, corruption, globalization, but no single factor explains it. Latin America industrialized early, but it did so on a narrow base. It built factories without building mass markets. It protected industry without forcing learning. It grew without transforming distribution. Industrialization happened, transformation did not. Today, Latin America is often described as falling behind. But that framing misses the point. The region is not behind Europe's past, it is trapped by its own early path. Early industrialization created institutions, interests, and expectations that were hard to change later. Success came first. Limits followed. And that is the paradox. Latin America did not stall because it industrialized too late. It stalled because it industrialized too early, under conditions that locked growth in place. Industrialization began. But the system never learned how to evolve. History does not reward speed alone. It rewards structure. It rewards pressure. And it rewards the ability to change after early success. Latin America's story is not one of failure. It is a reminder that industrialization is not a single step. It is a process that must keep transforming itself. This is Behind the Map.